Video games are a remarkable way to both tell and experience stories.
They invite you to enter worlds of action, fantasy, terror, and wonder.
Tú
Not
velo
just a
nomás.
member
Yo tengo
of
que ir a
the
comer.
audience, but an active
Dale.
participant.
They are stories that are shaped not only by the visions of their creators,
but by the choices you make as they unfold.
They are changed by you.
Just as you were changed by them.
This year, for the first time, Tribeca has selected 8 games.
We hope they offer you a brief glimpse into the ingenuity and artistic scope
that games have to offer the world.
And why they belong at the forefront of our conversations about storytelling.
Both now and in the future.
We can't wait for you to play them.
Horror stories are
Ay,
often
Guillermo.
about seeing our deepest fears and
Hola, Guillermo, ¿cómo
made
estás?
real in the form of ghosts, ghouls, and demons. But in the survival horror game Signalis, the true horror lies not in the shambling monsters you find lurking in a subterranean bunker or an alien planet, but in what lies beyond the limits of human comprehension. Revelations so dreadfully that can shatter the mind. This is the cosmic horror of Signalis.
Weón, qué curioso el pixel art. O sea, no es como un pixel art, es como un... Es como que le bajaré las texturas a propósito. Oh, qué weá. Oh, weón. Sí. Sí, sí, sí. Oh, qué brígido, weón. Está bacán. Escucha el pico.
Kena Bridge of Spirits is a rich, compelling
Está
tale
bacán,
of
weón.
fantasy and adventure with themes of trauma and loss of forgiveness. And yes, it's full of
Está
fast-paced
bacán,
action and
bacán
breathless battles
el...
with supernatural foes, but the first thing that hits you when you see it is the beauty of a debut game from a small but passionate team at Ember Labs.
El jueguito,
And
weón,
how the
está muy
stunning
bacán.
animation of its lush, magical world pulls you into a journey of a spirit guide trying to save a village haunted by restless souls. But why not let you see it for yourself? Here's our next official selection, Kena Bridge of Spirits.
El Kena. No, los dos perdieron los puntitos.
ground yourself.
Signalysis, creo que era.
Draw on its power.
Qué bonito este juego, culiao, weón. Ya visualmente es tan bonito, weón. Es tan bonito.
EMBER is a really small studio. We have a background in film and animation. We got our start doing visual effects for films. And then from there we grew into doing a lot of animated work for commercials. In between commercial projects, we would always siphon off some time to learn new things and be a little creative. And over time, we decided that, wow, we have a real passion for games, and we wanted to throw our hat into the ring with our first project, Kana.
Something tells me you did not come to our village looking for forest creatures.
Hello, Spirit. I seek passage to the sacred mountain shrine.
We've been playing games our whole lives together as brothers, and the action adventure games are sort of what we play together, and we also enjoy. Yeah. We kind of had this idea of the rot being a kind of a force of nature that was maybe working against you. It was kind of the enemy initially, and then kind of had the thought to flip it, where
sí. Ah, no, la última no la he visto. No, la última peli no la he visto. Caché el tráiler nomás, he visto solamente el tráiler de esa peli.
And that's when we kind of like found that we had something kind of unique.
Qué bacán, weón.
Opened up a lot of cool.
Weón, qué bacán, weón, las animaciones.
¿Veis la parte de los manitos negros?
Sí.
Vale, estamos sincronizados. Está bonito este juego.
Weón, no se puede ver tan bonito, weón.
Muy hermoso. ¿Con qué Unreal estáis?
Yo creo que con el 4, yo creo. Yo diría que con el 4.
Igual sí, porque ya lleva caleta de desarrollo.
Sí, no te puedo decir el último porque no. Pero yo creo que con el 4.
Crafty in how you're getting communication to the player, especially when it's trying to do it through gameplay, and not just like always through cutscenes.
One of Tara's memories. I should see where it leads me.
We love creating immersive experiences, and we try to really think about atmosphere and tone a lot when we're on the game development side. Like storytelling and atmosphere is a big part of our traditional medium in terms of film aesthetics. Just having the world be something that you want to sit down and explore and be a part of was a goal of ours from the beginning. Having a nice team of really great animators who have worked together, I think was paramount in terms of pulling off some of the storytelling we wanted to do with the game.
Bichito con pelo.
Me gusta una peluca.
We're actually making like a 45-minute animated movie.
Estamos allá a Oscar con el pelo verde.
We're really proud of the team. A lot of them come from the visual effects and animation background and kind of like converted their skill sets from the film and animation background into developers on the game side.
¿Capa se llama el weón? ¿Lol?
During the process, we also were introduced to a musical group called Sudamani. And we actually, Jason and myself went over to Bali to do recording for the soundtrack.
¿Qué te ha ido pareciendo la conferencia de Tribeca?
El primer juego me gustó caleta, weón. El Survival. Se veía muy bien, weón.
His daughter Ayu is actually the voice of Kena.
My name's Kate.
Ya, pero es que Kena es Kena, po, weón. Es top tier
She's never
por
done
Trigger.
voice acting, but she fit right in.
Si está bueno, Trigger, si está bueno, vamos
You have to
a
go
verlo.
now.
You know, we wanted to make a game that would just excite us if we saw it. You know, something that we would see the trailer. Oh yeah, that game looks awesome. So as difficult as it has been,
¿Esto
it's
sea un
also
indie?
very rewarding because it's like
El logo.
something that we would very proud of. You know, something that we would want to pick up ourselves.
Es un indie dentro de todo, po.
Sí. Pero que un indie tenga tanta calidad.
Puta.
Tenga más calidad que muchos juegos AAA.
El monstruo de la cultura japo. Ah, también puede ser. Uy.
El único monstruo que hizo ella.
The path of a spirit.
Kena.
Southern Gothic is a uniquely American storytelling tradition, blending magical realism
Está leyendo.
with decay in the American South.
Sí.
Está leyendo. Se le cachó que estaba leyendo.
Southern Gothic stew, weaving cyborgs
No está ni
and
ahí,
artificial
weón.
intelligence into
Porque el man se pone al
pixelated
frente de un
Louisiana
cuadro así como
landscapes.
entero pretencioso.
Where the sun sets
Es de
heavy
Frankenstein, ¿o no?
into the swamps, and
Sí.
oil refineries blaze like torches in the night. It is a place where people, memories, and
Se llama el cuadro que el pobre.
have a way of getting lost and buried.
En todo caso.
Dig 'em up if you dare. In the
Este man
haunting,
debe estar chato ya
extraordinary adventure
de trabajar, ¿o no? Esa cara de chato.
Es que siempre te ha hecho mierda este weón. Qué buena cara. Norco.
Geography of Robots is a handful of devs, artists, and musicians making output that is largely centered around the American South and the psychogeography of the American South.
Qué lindo.
Wow.
Our first release is a game called Norco, which is about my hometown
Oh.
of Norco, Louisiana. A small, very industrialized town about 25 miles upriver from New Orleans. There's so many intersecting
Parece
pieces
donde yo vivo.
of infrastructure.
Real.
So many stories embedded
No, es
in
que
the landscape.
aquí no hay casas.
I've been fascinated with that region since I was a kid. I wanted to synthesize all of those research interests into something, and
Este juego no lo vi,
Norco
por
is
cierto.
that culmination of effort.
Porque esta llegué tarde.
It draws from both reality and
Se llama
certain
Norco
sci-fi tropes.
Pancito. Creo que habla del tema climático que tienen en Luisiana. What?
To
Como de una
explore
industria.
little air pockets of the surreal within
Pero no
the
cacho bien
reality of the game.
a dónde te quiere llevar. Parece como un point and click,
benefit
bueno.
that we have working in this sort of adventure game, point and click genre is that we've got just decades and decades of iteration to build on within this genre, going back to the old Lucas games, you know, Monkey Island and such. What works for our story? What are the necessary mechanics to tell the story of Norco?
¿Qué weá? LOL.
Undertale.
What?
I was interrogating a lot
está troleando.
of events and experiences from the past. I was playing a lot of 2D pixel art games at the time, a lot of traumatic events had occurred both in
Súper
my personal
extraño,
life
weón.
and the life of the region that I was exploring, and I thought there was a kind of hauntological element to using pixel art to tell those stories.
El oso, pues claro, todo el rato.
I don't have any artistic experience, and so doing a simple 2D
El estilo gráfico
pixel
es
art game
muy, muy
fit the
particular,
best
weón.
within my limited resources that I had.
In the more recent years, big and small studios have really been pushing like what it means for player agency to take a front seat in a semi-linear narrative.
Oh, it has been
Holy
an
shit,
interesting journey, pushing the boundaries of the medium and kind of forcing it into this more complex, uncomfortable future.
Narco. Curioso, weón.
In the handmade adventure game Harold Halibut, a spaceship full of people fleeing the Cold War crash lands in an alien ocean, where the sunken ship becomes a city that is forever stuck in the 1970s. And when I say handmade adventure game, I mean that in a very physical, tangible way. Every set, every character, every floorboard, and every coffee cup has been meticulously handcrafted from wood, clay, cloth, and metal to bring this gorgeous world to life.
Dice que cada cosa le
Introduce
hicieron
the
con.
stop motion adventure
Cada cosa le hicieron a
Harold
mano.
Halibut.
Y está hecho con stop motion.
Wow.
El juego me voló, weón. Está todo hecho a mano.
Este no lo habíamos visto.
Parece que sí lo he mostrado.
Creo que lo habían mostrado antes, ¿o no?
Sí.
Oh, weón.
Harold Hollywood.
we
Sí,
are so
muy
brothers.
bueno.
A tiny into the
La media pega, weón.
Todo a mano, todo. Cada cosa, weón.
Harold! Stop daydreaming! And don't forget to fix the light after cleaning up the paint.
Sometimes I do wonder what life would have been like on Earth.
It's been about 10 years since we started.
Weón.
Some of us have
Llevan 10 años en desarrollo.
Concha tu madre, weón.
Frustrated about the big budgets needed to produce a feature-length film, the dependencies to producers. Being also game lovers, we thought that making a game instead of a film to tell a story might be the more approachable endeavor. We quickly realized that
Parece una película, ¿o no?
thing
Sí, bueno.
at least wasn't too different.
Sí,
No
totalmente.
parece un juego. Es
We
muy
were
brígido. Que
way
esté
too
tan
deep
cuidado.
into the process already of when we realized that.
O sea, indirectamente tiene la bandera de Uruguay porque la camisa es de raya y la polera tiene un sol al centro, pues, weón.
Our
Él es Uruguay.
goal has always been to create a accurate recreation of a stop motion film, to create a cinematic feel, and our initial approach was quite a lot of
estar 10 años
experimentation
haciendo
involved
eso.
until we
Oh,
found
man.
our process that we use now, which is 3D scanning everything by using photogrammetry to create 3D models of the characters that we then animate using motion capturing. Which gave us this fluidity and also all the options that we have in modern 3D games to light the scenes in a cinematic way and to use camera movement. So it's even a little bit different than traditional stop motion animation, and we really liked this mix of the digital world and the analog world.
Imagínate, tiraste todo.
La
una mañana
media
solo vas en un escenario, weón.
pega, weón.
Into building the sets and the tiny details. Ultimately, we think that's why the game feels the way it does is because of the sum of its parts and that level of detail coming together as like a greater thing.
Y lo hacen muy bien, está todo súper detallado, weón.
Into giving the individual characters and Harold's social environment a lot of depth, and that ultimately makes for like a rich experience.
Now, if you're quite ready.
Sure. Ready for what?
I made a breakthrough discovery at the Arboretum last night. You remember the last batch of bloomy rocks?
Oh, the really small ones from the last intake? The ones with the strange shapes and the little holes and...
Y lo van a piratear.
Turns out
Puta el
this
Víctor
surface
Culea.
composition doesn't just give us clues about our immediate aquatic environment.
Muy feliz me voy a quedar de piratearlo.
Puta, pero weón.
We create a relatable science fiction world instead of having a
No se lo merece.
super
No,
distant
que lo pirateen, weón.
para nada, weón.
where
Tengo que comprar esta weón.
things are so different that it might as well be magic.
It may have started with one man, but it took the hearts and minds of many more to make the dream a reality. That dream began at the height of the Cold War, when the world was on the very brink of annihilation. He conceived of an ark-like spacefaring ship. After 200 years, we finally arrived at our destination, only to find that the promising, watery planet contained no habitable landmass and dense toxic gases in the atmosphere.
The Cold War seemed like a good starting point for the backstory of our game, and it enabled us to have this kind of weird mix of being stuck in the
Todas las
70s
animaciones,
on
todo
one
está
hand,
demasiado
and
bien
not
cuidado,
looking
weón.
through things we all
La
know
cagó,
in
weón,
our
esta weá.
present, but also
Es demasiado
thinking into
bien.
the future, the 200 years after that, and creating this kind of alternative timeline where things evolved in a different way.
It's just that the professor and I need some sea rocks. I mean, filter rocks from...
¿Cuánto dura este juego?
That have come from
No
the
sé.
filters.
No creo que tampoco duren mucho.
Okay, look and listen here, Longy Long Pants. I shut the store
10 años para hacer un juego de 5 horas.
Well, we have this overarching storyline
Holy
in
shit,
our
man.
game with multiple story arcs. Harold is only one part of this bigger story, and we always kind of focus on Harold's personal interactions, relationships and friendships of Harold.
Harold! Good timing. You can explain things to the Major, can't you?
Harold, come here and explain things.
So, Harry, how's life been treating you?
You know, keeping fishy.
What?
You know, keeping busy.
Okay.
Harold.
Is everything okay?
And therefore really concentrated on providing a lot of depth in those characters for players to ultimately explore.
¿Hizo Momoa?
Won't you stay?
El cosplay.
The jog team won't be the same without you.
Yeah, venga, Harold. You can't leave now, I just got here. Jog team, jog team, jog team.
Go jog team.
Come on, Harold. Keep up.
Deep breaths, Harold. You're doing great.
Guys, have you got any tips?
Just keep on moving, Harold. You never know when you'll have to slow down. So keep going while you can.
Well.
Yeah, that is so cute.
Todo lo que tuvieron que aprender, weón.
De la época de la Guerra Fría.
Imagine setting off across a vast desert on a rite of passage, with no one to share the long and lonely trip but your trusty hover bike.
O sea, y era 2011 cuando empezaron.
You will traverse a world of beauty and mystery, full of spectacular ruins, both ancient and futuristic. This is the joy of
Empezaron a programarlo
exploration,
con Windows
the
Vista.
thrill of discovery. And if you listen to the stories of the people and places you encounter, perhaps a chance to learn what you came here to understand. This is Sable.
El sable.
Cómo se ve este igual, weón.
A mí me apasiona lo hermoso que pueden llegar a ser los indies, weón.
Con poco en realidad.
Sí, weón, lo tan distintivos que pueden ser, weón, con los estilos, weón.
Shedworks is us.
Me encanta que la animación sea así.
Greg,
Mm.
this is Daniel, and we started out in my parents' shed.
Sable is the main character. She's a young girl who's leaving her home for the first time.
Wow.
The gliding is what Sable embarks on as the story starts, and it's something that everybody who comes of age in the world of Sable does. It's how you find out what you want to become in life. Leaving your home behind and experiencing the world, meeting people, trying things, helping folks in need, and ultimately deciding, what do I want to devote my life to?
So much of the people
¿Cómo me lo voy a
in the
gozar?
communities here are defined by their vocation. You know,
¿Cómo me lo voy a
the
gozar,
desert
pirata?
that they live in is inhospitable, and so they've kind of had to come together and had to form groups around
No, mentira, lo vamos a
resources.
comprar.
And so Sable kind of goes from place
Es
to
bromi.
place, meeting different societies
Jiji,
and
bromi.
La
built
voy a comprar
around
en Skydrop.
completely different experiences of the same environment.
BB Games.
It means that she has to be a sponge, right? She's trying to figure out her place in the world, what she wants to do for the rest of her days. And I think that's what makes the story so fun. It really is about the places that you go, the people that you see, and the experiences that you have that not only shape her gliding, but shape her.
Wow.
My dad and Daniel's dad went to architecture school together. You know, our lives have kind of crossed a bit in that period. Your mum taught me art at secondary school.
By the time we were at sort of university age, that was when indie games have really kind of taken off as a creative sort of field. I started to think about them as something that I could make myself.
Hay ciclo de ti, ¿no?
Sí, bueno,
I
qué
studied
bacán.
architecture, Daniel studied comparative literature, but neither of us had any experience making games before we started making games. We kind of went to the pub one time and had a chat about how we, because we had none of these industry direct connections to skills or experience, we thought we'd start our own internship, do our own internship in the shed. The initial thought was just, let's get some experience under our belt and see where we go from there. Somehow 6 years or so later, we're here now, still going. Yeah. The thing that we've really tried to focus on is exploration, and we've kind of geared every design decision that we could around that focus. There's no real danger to the player in the game. It is quite relaxing in a way, but that doesn't make it less curious a world to explore, I think.
Dijo que era un juego muy relajante, pero
I think the unique thing about
tampoco
it
deja de
is
ser curioso.
how lonely it is, and the pace
Tense.
of the game is very laid back.
Creo que tiene como un aire de... como Journey.
Sí.
Como de recorrerlo, ¿cachai? De ir a investigarlo, de conocer todo.
Your background in comparative literature, when it comes to architecturally focused, and my background in
think that it's come from us
Se puede escalar.
in that way makes it.
Qué buena, weón.
Parece que por donde queráis.
We draw from a number of references and influences, I suppose. I guess some of the most obvious ones are the visual ones, right? Stuff like Mobius or Tintin, or Studio Ghibli, and those kind of pieces were always influential.
Yeah, it does have that mix of ancient and futuristic to our eyes, right, who live here, but to the eyes of Sable and to everyone in that world, that is all that they know.
We brought Japanese breakfast onto the project really early on, like before we'd really started it, and so our music has kind of been there from the very beginning. So that's been the music itself has been a really big part of shaping where the direction of the game.
No, el copyright, no.
Puta, ¿tú decís que me va a guayar el copyright?
Esta es la canción que sonó en el...
Ah, lo dejo bajito entonces, pues lo dejo bajito. ¿Qué le está pareciendo? A mí me parece maravilloso el juego, weón. Eso sí va a ser muy, muy especial. No creo que sea como algo muy... Son estos juegos como medios íntimos, weón, medios extraños, pero a la vez muy, muy llamativos, weón.
Está muy bueno.
Sí, está muy
Esa es
bueno.
mi conclusión.
Está muy bueno el sable.
Saber.
El sable.
In the Gothic fairy tale Lost in Random, the world is divided into 6 shadowy realms, where every citizen's fate is determined by the roll of a cursed die. You play as Even, a young girl who's set out on a quest to save her beloved sister Odd. And with the help of your companion, a magic
El weón tiene las 3 consolas, me acabo de dar cuenta, weón. Y me acabo de dar cuenta lo alta que es la Xbox Series S. O sea, X.
Las tiene ahí puestas así como, miren.
Me acabo de dar cuenta lo grande que es la Xbox Series
Ahora
X,
la
weón.
Switch.
Qué chucha. Eso es como mi campo. Sí, a veces son juegos medio íntimos, por eso te decía.
Mira, mira, mira.
Son medio especiales, entonces... Este lo habíamos visto.
Lost in Random is being developed here at Zoink Games in Gothenburg, Sweden. We're about 80 developers with a few different projects, but Lost in Random is definitely our biggest and most
Hoy son re jóvenes, weón.
ever.
Sí, weón. En un momento lo habíamos visto, no me acuerdo cuándo, pero... Me acuerdo,
We're known
qué
for
bacán
doing
ese
quite
diseño.
narrative-driven games. We really want to make games that speak to people and touch people and make people think. Lost in Random is a 3D action-adventure game set in the gorgeous Gothic fairy tale world of Random. And it tells the tale of Even, a young girl who befriends Dicey, a living dice with incredible powers.
Even goes on this journey to rescue her sister from the clutches of a mad queen who's obsessed with board games.
And so the Queen decreed that any child who had turned the age of 12 would be given the grand honor of rolling her one true dice to show them their place in the world of random. For random is fair, random prevails, and random rules. Random rules.
Even, she's this naive young kid who's just, for the first time, going out into the world to find out who she is.
It's really a story about the randomness of life and conquering the fear of it.
Que originó la cantidad de pega que hay en estas producciones, bueno, uno no se da ni cuenta, bueno.
Even is this quick to
Que
anger,
todos los
but she's
gestos,
not
bueno.
one to hold grudges, but she can easily get into a fight.
Sí, bueno.
And Dicey is there to hold her back. Dicey, who is this cute puppy kind of character, his moment shines.
A mí lo que me da lata de estos juegos en general, de los indie, weón, de que ahora están saliendo tantos y salen tantos tan llamativos y tan bonitos, weón, que muchos, si no los captáis al tiro, se pierden, weón. Y es como una lata, weón.
Sí. Pero igual suelen destacar los que son como muy...
Sí, pues, pero muchos de esos después hay otros que no resaltan. Pues entonces, lo ideal es que cuando ustedes vean estos juegos, anoten los juegos. O sea, yo también los puedo anotar y los voy agregando a mis weas, ¿cachai? Para después en algún momento jugarlos, pero si están realmente interesados en uno, anótenlo al tiro, weón, porque si no después se pierden, weón.
No venden a Lucas en la fe.
Los in random. Por ejemplo, ese lo voy a buscar al toque en Steam y lo voy a agregar.
In the interactive thriller 12 minutes, you play
Si
as
es
a
que
man
está.
who becomes trapped in a time loop.
Yeah.
Playing the same 12 minutes of one fateful evening in his apartment over and over again.
El actor
Each
este.
time you're going to have the chance to make
Oh.
new choices, learn what led up to those terrible events,
No aparece,
and
weón.
perhaps even escape them. It's a story that's
No
not
tiene
just
página
about
de
how choices matter,
en Windows, voy a
but
decir
about
en
how
Steam.
some stories can only truly be told
¿Saldrá en
when
Epic,
they can
tal
change,
vez?
even just a little bit, every
Tal vez
single
para
time
Switch.
you tell them. It was a joy to participate
Tal
in
vez.
this project and lend my voice to
No apareció en Steam.
and I hope you have as much fun playing it as I did making it. I am very proud to introduce a game where the
Este es
end
el Magneto, ¿no?
Eh, el antiguo, o sea, el de joven.
Sí.
Oh, este juego culiado, weón, es muy bueno también, weón. Sí, sí, después no lo ven algún youtuber streamer, no lo ves más. Exactamente, weón.
Creo que la voz...
Ah, es verdad que este era el profesor joven, pues no era el Magneto joven, era el profesor joven.
Eso, el Xavier.
Sí. Este juego es muy bueno.
La voz de estos dos, o sea, los actores de voz de este juego son weones re famosos.
Sí, po. Van a ser 3, po. Si al final son 3 personas nomás lo que necesitan. Y la weá es un bucle, po, weón. Es muy, muy buena esta weá.
Sí. Pero ¿dónde? ¿Cómo te contratáis estos weones?
Puta. Pues al final igual está haciendo como un doblaje, po, weón. Igual sale bueno y te aporta, po, weón. 12
My name is
minutos.
Luis. I'm the creator of 12 Minutes.
Este weón es el cabrón que se consigue los...
A los actores. Este es el maldito que lo logró.
El culiao. Yo creo que fue y les preguntó, no me dijo ya.
O a veces la misma distribuidora, vos, por ejemplo, si hay alguien que lo auspicia, que era Annapurna, puede que Annapurna haya dicho, ya, mira, ¿sabes qué? Te consigo estos huevones.
A Luis Antonio.
Y vos publicáis por nosotros, por ejemplo, ¿cachai? ¿Qué pasa a veces? Como Annapurna tiene un poquito más de llegada, lo logro,
Es que imagínate que viene Luis Antonio y te dice, mira, necesito estos dos actores de voz. Y tú, bueno.
Wow, easy.
I'm fascinated by the idea of if you knew what's going to happen, what would you do differently? 12 Minutes is an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. You come home from work, you're having an evening with your wife, then this cop shows up.
Tiene a Daisy Ridley, a James McAvoy y a Willem Dafoe.
El Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. El Willem Dafoe, ¿quién es este? El Green Lantern. No, el Green Lantern nada que ver. El Green Lantern. ¿Cómo se llama? El Duende Verde. De la primera de Spider-Man.
Dale.
El antiguo.
The reason the game sticks to a bird's eye view is because it allows you to very easily interact with the environment. Most video games you have a third-person camera or a first-person camera, and I wanted to create something that is very accessible. So by doing a bird's eye view, you have like a floor plan of the apartment that you just click where to move.
¿Y la Daisy Ridley quién es?
There was also the challenge
Sale en
of
Star Wars,
having
parece.
the voices convey the emotions without seeing the faces.
Pero
If
yo no he visto
someone is
ninguna
really
película donde
stressed
salga
out, you won't have any facial expressions, so you have to feel the stress in the throat.
Particularly because you don't see our faces in it, you really are projecting
Ahí está la wea.
Como que no, pues si es la que hace de las nuevas.
Pero yo no he visto...
No he visto las nuevas. Ella es la que hace de nueva Jedi en las nuevas de Star Wars.
Bueno, ni las nuevas ni las viejas.
Puta, el trigger.
And if there's enough subtlety in the voice acting, in the
Me
movie,
cagaste toda la wea, pues, weón. Yo pensando que habíais visto las antiguas nomás.
terms of motivations,
Yo dije que no he visto
motivations.
nada, yo no he visto Star Wars
And workshopping with them,
en
figuring
general.
those things out allows the characters to become alive and become meaningful.
¿El Dafoe debe hacer de policía o no? Sí, él hace de la pareja.
No, parece que ese asesino.
O asesino, no sé qué.
Hace de sus.
Working in interactive medium, you can make a story that becomes very personal to you, right? You're not passively looking at what's happening and processing. You're actually deciding. By allowing you to participate, to change it, to mold the way it's built, in a way it becomes part of you. It's like you're part of the creative process that is happening. And because the game doesn't really give you a direction, the decisions you make are based on who you are.
I'll prove it.
Yeah, great. Let's see it. Wow me.
That allows you to explore a side of yourself that maybe you wouldn't otherwise.
Silently repeat these phrases. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from fear. May you know peace and joy.
Willem Dafoe.
Este juego tiene muy buena pinta, weón.
Sí. Sí.
No tiene fecha, la concha la lora.
If you're not familiar with The Big Con, a coming-of-age comedy adventure about a teen in the 1990s, well, let me explain. You play as Allie, a high school junior who learns
Este juego. No. Este juego a mí personalmente no me atrae
Run
nada.
away from band camp, head to the mall, and become a con artist. I mean, that's just common sense.
Así que todos los juegos que mostraban eran bacanes, weón.
And so much plaid.
Es que, weón, hay demasiados indies tan buenos, weón, que... Oh, qué distinto estilo artístico, weón. El cambio culiado que pasamos, weón, fue brígido.
Pasamos de Seinen a Shonen. Bueno, este juego no se me antoja, pero nada. Es que es muy como... No sé cómo decirlo. Como que tiene un público muy objetivo.
Sí,
y yo no
pues.
entro ahí. Y yo no entro para nada ahí. Ah, son puros jovencitos felices. No como yo.
¿Como tú?
Sí.
So you learn to pickpocket, wear disguises, talk your way into and out of trouble. All for that good, not so good cause of making sure your family business stays afloat.
A mí personalmente no se me antoja nada. ¿Y a ti?
No creo que sea mi estilo, la verdad. El estilo me llama mucho, pero no... Mecánicamente no sé.
Oye, culiao, robándole, ¿qué wea?
No, le estoy robando.
A ver si me interesa. Me recuerda a la casa.
TF Simulator.
Hay un juego de ladrones que te dice por qué el Levin, pues.
Ojo.
El Thief.
Ah, claro, el Thief. No sabía que estaba hecho porque no.
Igual que el LOL.
¿El LOL también lo hizo él?
Sí. Hizo Shaco.
Ah, él creó a Chaco, ahí está. Creó a Chaco y se fue.
Oye, ¿no cachaba lo que... Lo de Ghost Story Games? Que son literalmente los mismos buenos que Reaccion.
¿Sí?
Sí, son los mismos de Reaccion, todos. Todos son los mismos. No, es que se cambiaba el nombre para no trabajar para dos.
LOL.
If it makes us laugh, it goes in the game. That was our rule. Like we really want you to explore and find stuff.
Quiero que anuncien el Bioshock 4, weón.
Todavía no.
Conversations with people that, you know,
¿Cuándo la de Take-Two mañana?
it makes us happy knowing that it's in there.
Sí, creo.
Y ahí lo
O sea,
anuncian.
si lo anuncian, yo creo que lo anuncian en el de Microsoft.
No en el de Take-Two, que es la empresa que distribuye Bioshock.
No, ni vean. No, Take-Two no.
Sí, pues Take-Two tiene a 2K, pues, weón.
Hoy soy mentiroso.
Take-Two tiene Rockstar, tiene 2K, tiene... Revisa que tiene Take-Two. Revisa que tiene Take-Two.
Mentiroso.
Ah.
And so, you know, with the 90s means that we also get to do this ribbon, colorful palette that Saffron put together.
I watched a lot of cartoons growing up. Hey Arnold, Doug, and The Simpsons.
Juega un juego de países, comentaba mi aventura en el chat. Sí. Va a salir una continuación, una expansión.
Bright contrasting colors, exaggerated features, and like fun geometric patterns. So Allie is a very does what she wants character. She wears her
Oh, legal,
backwards.
Vos no confías en mí.
No, sí, pero...
Bueno, el Victoria 3. Sí, te estaba molestando, sácatela con eso.
Te estaba molestando.
Plaid shirt wrapped around her waist, which is, you know, a very, I think, 90s
Bueno, es que sé que desde que anuncien el Bioshock 4 hasta que lo juegue,
no voy a poder vivir tranquilo.
No. Desde que lo anuncien hasta que lo juegue voy a ser feliz. Después de jugarlo, sé que no voy a ser feliz.
Pero entonces no lo jugué, po, weón.
Como en el Borderlands 3, po, weón.
Y yo me arriesgo, yo me sacrifico por el equipo, lo bajo pirata, lo juego y lo veis.
Tengo que jugarlo, weón. Tengo que afrontar la vida.
¿Y si no te corre?
Lo juego igual, weón. Si me pasé el Bioshock Infinite la primera vez, como aquí.
Ya, pero ¿y si va a 2, a 5? ¿No vaya a poder jugarlo? Pues se va a mover tan lento que no vaya a poder jugarlo.
Ah, no creo que tampoco. Si el Cyberpunk me corre a 30.
¿La dura?
No.
Qué mentiroso el culiao. Y yo me pareció tan
me
pareció tan extraño y dije, ¿cómo le va a correr a 30?
No, pero sí, me corre como a
¿Terminó?
20, 25.
Oh, terminó, lo piteamos al toque, weón.
Es que era bueno, po. Era bueno.
Weón, nos vimos cualquier juego que estaba muy bueno.